It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Here on the first episode of Confidence in Bloom, we're going to laugh our way to the bank. Me, Tina Spolatini, your host, will chat with Zandra Bell, a multiple award-winning corporate humorist and intuitive business strategist. Today, Zandra and I will talk about Zandra's innovating marketing work and what that means. We'll discuss how her work is valuable to women entrepreneurs and what makes her stand out from others in her industry. Zandra is behind Inspirational Comedian, who is well known for inspirational hilarity specific to workplace challenges and business objectives, uniting her empowering staff and raising morale and productivity. In her role as a creative marketing innovator and promotional wizard, Zandra helps entrepreneurs communicate their solution in a unique, compelling way that improves client attraction and engagement. From mastering the empowering elevator speech, creating and delivering presentations that pay, right on through to mindset mastery, attracting clients and closing those sales. Zandra is your leader in word domination, giving a voice to your business success. Hello, Zandra.
Hi there.
And how are you today?
Oh, doing fine. Thank you.
Excellent. You're a marketing innovator. What is that exactly? What do you do?
Well, innovate is obviously to do something, new and different. And that's what I'm all about. It's more than just marketing by the book, although, I've had training in that area, but it's more thinking, outside the box, using imagination, my creativity, and coming up, I would say even my intuition, coming up with something different, a new idea that, even if someone's done it before or thought of it before, this is a different twist, to really, it's so important in, business to be unique. And that's what marketing is about. In essence, you have no competition if you're the only one in your niche.
Oh, for sure. Yes, absolutely. What services or what part of your services are so valuable to that makes you stand out from other marketing coaches or I'm not really sure how, like, you're an innovator, but does that consider you a coach, like a marketing coach?
Well, in essence, yes, like I do have that mentorship role in what I do. It's rather multifaceted in that once I work with my clients to, I guess I would call it empire build, where do they want to go and how can we get them there? And we establish a game plan in the sense of, what is in front of us. And then let's, the proverbial eat the elephant one bite at a time. So there is an element of coaching, encouraging and moving them along. There's an element of as I say, marketing and hey, we should do this. And this is why this will work. There's an element also of, just doing it for them because you asked what makes me unique. I am very good with words. A word wizard is what some people would term it as. And I don't know, I've just always been gifted with that. No, there is no other me, just like there is no other you. And so when people ask that question, I'm almost inclined to say, because of me, but anyone can say that. I want to stress that because that's something I would tell my clients, for sure. Well, you are unique. No one can do it like you can.
Absolutely. My mom used to say always when I was young that I had the gift of the gab because I love to talk. So you have the gift of the gab as well with the words, right?
Talk.
You are well known for Shirley Best. You write for her. She's an inspirational comedian. Where would she speak? What types of events would she go to?
Well, I just spoke at a national conference at 11 o'clock this morning. So,
Wow.
yeah, the world of Zoom makes everything possible. Otherwise, I would have been in, I think they were based in Toronto or Ottawa, but
Wow.
they had members there for their association from all over Canada. So that's the type of thing that I would do in real life, is actually travel all over to these different places and be there in person speaking. It's very advantageous in that sense. People always want to add something different to their conference. And the nature of what I do in terms of humor is to learn what they are doing professionally and how they feel about it. That's the important thing. It's all their different buzzwords. They're the the challenges they face doing whatever it is that they're doing on their job. Like, it could be a pharmacist, it could be a farm equipment dealer. But as you know, every career has its ups and downs, and there are the things that we grumble about and go home, oh God, a bad day and this and that. Well, I want to leave people feeling enlightened and inspired about what they do. And if you laugh at the negative, obviously I bring in the positive as well. So, ultimately it raises client morale and productivity. So people use it for their employees, as I mentioned, association members. It can be smaller events where one company is putting on something, a training session, for instance, safety training, when it's when you have these fellows that work in the field all the time, and they've been doing the same thing for years, when the stringent paperwork that accompanies safety these days came into play, they were not happy. They've been doing that the same way for the last 200 years, and they're going to keep doing it. But they had to, of course, impart that knowledge. So it was to do it through humor is the best way, because it's not some suit up there talking. It's Shirley Best, who's a kind of iconic as a character, because everybody has a Shirley in their life. She's your mother-in-law, or that aunt that comes to the family reunion in makeup a little too garish and clothing a little too tight. So we all know Shirley, and people just really warm to her, especially since I know everything that they do on their job. They can't imagine how I would figure that out, but that's been 25 years of a career.
Wow, that's amazing. And so you have like lots of knowledge with all the experience and the traveling that you've done. You have knowledge in many different industries, and you can use that to your benefit for sure. That's excellent. I would love to know more about your travels, with Shirley Best, because in order for you to learn, you probably have to be on the job so that you can make light or humor of a situation that some of these employees might be going through. You must have like tons of experience stories for us.
Well, there's all manner of different little tidbits of things that you do learn that stick with you. I remember doing airport officials of smaller airports, and they have to sweep the runway because if coyotes poop on
Oh,
it can go up in the turbine engines and can cause a plane crash. And I'm thinking, whoa, who would have thought of that, right? And I
yeah.
remember doing an insurance one where they told me that bulls, privates are insured, because in the world of, breeding, bulls are very valuable. And if anything happens to that bull's, equipment, so to speak, then they're out, thousands of dollars. And apparently they can break, which I found hilarious. I had a mental image of it breaking, but apparently, if the cow moves, suddenly, it's game over kind of thing. And I don't know if you're aware that they do artificially inseminate cows with an obstetric sleeve. I was awarded my own by Fairview College, I believe it was, and it goes all the way up here, and the
Oh boy.
farmer does his job with that, but arms have been broken. The cow has to be very secure. We are talking big, heavy, strong animals, so you just learn these things that it never occurs to you. Like, here's a really dumb thing. You'd think you would know this, but I was shocked when I was doing dairy farming, and they said well, in dairy farming, here's the facts, and then I'll get to what I was shocked about. The cows are like athletes. They have to be fed the top, nutrients and everything. And I'm going, oh, because of the milk? And they said, no, because they're pregnant all the time. And I'm like, oh, they're pregnant all the time? Why would they be pregnant all the time? Duh, so they could give milk. And I'm like, oh my God, I always thought cows that was their job, and I'm thinking, oh wow, like, how dumb is that? But of course, like any other mammal, they have to be lactating in order to give the milk, right? And if in order to lactate, you have to be pregnant. And I just thought, well, it's a cow, you just turn on the faucet, right? I thought, I considered myself a little bit more enlightened than that, but no, but we don't think when we come from a city, right? So I have had so many different travels. I have, been all across, North America, and I've been through an earthquake in Mexico, and I've toured the oil sands, which is really, that will always be up there as one of the best things. I love the oil sands. They're so beautiful in a way, and people are always putting it down what they do up there, but it's they don't know about it really. And the potash mine was another one in Vanscoy, Saskatchewan, which was Agrium, and I was able to go over a kilometer underground and tour these mining corridors and everything. And every natural resource, organization or company, they reclaim, like forestry reclaims, oil reclaims. So I said, well, you must fill these with, whatever, to when you're finished with them. And they said, no, we don't have to, because they just go away. And I'm going, well, how they can go away? Well, nature just heals itself. And then I'm thinking, whoa, it's like there by the grace of God, go we down here. Anything could happen. We're over a kilometer underground, and to think that it could close itself like that, that blew my mind. I love my career.
I bet. So what you're saying is, like, the earth closes itself, so there's no holes down there after the mine is done.
I'm not, this is the fun of me. I'm hell at cocktail parties because I only know little snippets. I wouldn't know, like, to be able to talk like they could. But, like I have a running commentary on all the different things I've studied. So, it's interesting. But yeah, obviously they would be gone by then. But yeah, just natural, like, movement of the earth, I guess it would be, right?
I guess. Wow, that's
fascinating.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. You and I have worked together, and I've come to learn that you come up with some really great taglines. How does that happen? Do they just kind of like fall out of your mind, or do you actually start putting words? Like, I'm not very good with taglines. I have my few, but you just seem to they roll off your tongue so easy. How do you do that? Or do you actually sit down and put words together until something sounds right?
Well, a little bit of both, actually, in that sometimes, as I say, if I'm lucky, something will just come right to mind. But I like, well, obviously, we've established that I'm good with words. So I really respect words and the nuances that each word has. So I don't like the idea of just like, oh, yeah, here's a tagline. I like to weigh all the different choices, because a tagline in marketing language is a unique selling proposition, USP. And it's like freeze drying everything you want to say, that this is why you should buy this, or it's kind of like a lure in essence of why they need it. It all freeze dried into one little tagline. And so, there's a lot at stake here. And it's not just like dash something off. I like it to encompass, all the nuances factually, but, facts tell, emotion sells. So when you're dealing with, again, marketing, trying to promote yourself, you want to grab that person emotionally. So a good example, for instance, is L'Oreal, because you're worth it. And L'Oreal, it may not be a top manufacturer in terms of beauty products, but they are tops pretty much in the regular drugstore aisle. So you can picture the woman going down the aisle and seeing the different choices. And if L'Oreal's more expensive, because you're worth it is such a good tagline, because, again, she's like, oh, I am, and I'll just spend this little extra money because I'm worth it. So, that's what I mean. Like, that spurs her on. And another one I love is De Beers, A Diamond is Forever. Because in Europe, as you probably notice with royalty, when they get engaged, it's not necessarily a diamond. It was not, we're in North America, it's more traditional that a diamond is an engagement ring stone. But they, De Beers is trying to promote the idea that it should be a diamond. So when they say a diamond is forever, factually, they're saying it's a very strong stone that will last many years. So your investment is sound in that, you've got a great gem here. But a diamond is forever has that underlying emotional nuance. Or my love is forever, our marriage is forever, and then again, it's a real lure, a draw, you see. So there's, again, these are simple words, but they pack a punch, they mean a lot, And so, yeah, I do try to really get in there and get the best tagline for people.
Yeah. Well, I like the De Beers diamond is forever. You can shower me with diamonds anytime. Do you have like a specific goal for your life? Like, what motivates you? What inspires you? What makes you tick, I guess?
Okay. Well, I guess I'm very invested in my clients. Like, I have my own career, and obviously I want that to go well. And I try to do different things. When I'm finished one aspect, I move into another. Like, you mentioned Shirley Best. I still am performing as Shirley Best, but I've brought on this whole new realm of how I can ingeniously revitalize entrepreneurs' businesses. And then that is growing. So now I'm working on another realm where I will be speaking as myself much more, and out at events, whether they be virtual or in real life, who knows, but or both. I mean, because I think the online component will continue on, but speaking and running my own webinars, programs, events, that kind of thing. As you know, I already run an event called Success Soirees for the wise and adventurous businesswoman. So I want to get more into doing that, but through teaching people business through things like that. So I like to continue to evolve, but my clients keep me going. I've said many times they're like a family to me. And I really am, emotionally invested in each and every one of their successes. Like I I care probably more than a normal person would, but that's to me part of the job, doing business from the heart. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I know that. I can relate with that. You're I want to call you my mom mentor, because I look to you when I need something, with my business. I look to you. I trust everything and anything you need to say. So yeah, I get that. I really can resonate with that.
Well, thank you. I'll try not to think that it means that I'm that old.
No. No, I don't mean it in that way.
No,
you're definitely not my mom's age. Do you consider yourself a confident woman?
Yes and no, in the sense that I think that that's an interesting. Confidence is really a journey, isn't it? And I think that we all have a reservoir of the negative beliefs, things that happen that cause us pain, that we can serve. I'm not sure. I was telling somebody the other day about this, and I said, do you know what a fatberg is? And they're like, what? And I don't know if you've ever heard that term, but in the sewer systems, fatbergs can develop, and they're massive, like rock-like structures, and they're very dangerous because they're composed of solid, non-biodegradable things that have been flushed into the plumbing. And then because other things are flushed in the plumbing, it's like they're held together by grease and fat, and they clog, like they're huge and they clog. And I think that that's a great analogy for the emotional fatberg that's inside us sometimes. Is that gets in the way of us being confident. And I think that, like anybody else, I have those feelings of, insecurity or low self-esteem. I hear them in the back of my mind, but I don't pay any attention to them anymore. In my younger days, I probably did let them dominate my life a little bit more, but now I have evolved and learned a lot. And, plus there's just too much at stake. I have, what would I do with my, you said I'm a mom coach. So I have other children, I need to be the role model for them in essence, right? And you just cannot fall apart, and that, so they keep me sane, and hopefully I keep them going. And so there's just too much at stake to let fear or, your feelings of unworthiness or inadequacy, it's like, I hear you, but I'm going forward anyway, because, if not, now, when is this ever going to happen? So, yes, I do come off as confident, but, like everybody else, we have our side that is, sensitive. But yeah, I would say I've developed now into a pretty confident person.
Yeah, you touched on a few parts there. I love the whole fatberg analogy because I think we all have them to some degree, right? I mean, our childhood, we live through stuff, like life is life, right? And so that causes always these little blocks, these little stones, and eventually they kind of, gather up in our arteries with the fat. And yeah, fatberg's perfect. And I do believe age changes that, right? I mean, as we get older, we change, we look at life differently as we go through life, go through all the different stages of our life. So I think, once you hit like that 45, I think is probably, that's when we sort of start to go, wow, have I wasted my life? Right? Mm-hmm. Have I wasted all this time? Why am I letting this inner, my itty bitty shitty committee control me?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, sure. There's too much at stake. Especially if you want to be successful as an entrepreneur or in business, and small business, you're the boss. You can't always be second guessing yourself. And I'm a speaker, so obviously I'm not immune to what people would call stage fright. It is this responsibility to get onto a stage or in front of a camera and, in my case, make people laugh as Shirley Best, or, teach and inspire and move people the other way. So yeah, you're thinking, well, I've got this responsibility ahead of me. I'm a little nervous, but it pales in comparison to the joy, I guess it is, to be up there and to have that power to help, to reach them, combine, the words, which I, enjoy so much, and the right words, and then to, in the way you use them, to really be able to motivate and change lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I get that. And working with you, I know exactly what you mean, because I've been there. You've brought me through those loops a few times, I think. I want to say thank you for joining me today. Where can we find you? Are you on social media, Facebook, Instagram? I believe you're on LinkedIn.
I gave you those links. I obviously, just like everybody else, I'm happy to be texted or emailed, and I believe you have all that information.
Okay, they'll be in the show notes. Perfect.
Easier to get a hold of me probably by email or text.
Okay.
But I definitely all over the place in that sense. Success Warriors usually it runs every second Thursday. The next one is May 6th at the moment. We may change that slightly. We're not sure, but it's pretty sure right now it's going to be May 6th. It's just that there's a few, I'm moving. So I want to make sure that I have internet and everything, but we did shift it a week. So, but and then every other week. So I'm always there.
That's excellent. Yes, thank you. Thank you again, Zandra. And I mean, if anyone wants to get in touch with Zandra, her contact info will be in the show notes.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.